Hello, my name is Fergusson. I work for SRUC Veterinary Services, and we've had a great workshop here today in Maybole talking about flock health planning. The purpose of a flock health plan is for you to have healthier and therefore more profitable stock. Working with healthy stock is good for mental health, and the health plan helps in that way by forecasting what might go wrong and putting in place barriers to stop those disease risks coming in and stopping you making that profit at the end of the day. So health plans historically were a tick box exercise once yearly, and if you engage in your health plan you'll get more out of it. So ideally you would want to be revisiting a health plan every 3 to 4 months, and the idea behind that is you look ahead to the next 3 months, think what's coming up. Is it scanning? Is it tupping? Is it scanning? Is it lambing? How could that go wrong, and what can we do at this point now to stop that going wrong? So what a health plan should entail is the first thing you need to do is get your team together. Now you need a team that you really trust. That might be a big team or a small team, it totally depends on your system. Examples of people you might want to be involved in your health plan could be obviously yourself, any other farm staff that are involved in the day-to-day running of the farm. Your vet is a good person to involve, as is any nutritionists that you use or outsourced consultants. These people all have something to bring to the table and are really good to get engaged in building a health plan. Once you have that team together, what you want to do is look at your system and set some targets. Now, what might a target be? So a target might be, I want to have 195% scan this year. I might want to have 150% scan or 250% scan. It will vary, depend on system. So targets, examples could be your scanning percentage, could be lamb mortality, either around lambing up to 8 weeks or up to weaning, whatever you find easiest to measure. It could be lamb growth rates, whatever your output is in your system and what's easy to measure, you could set as a target. Targets have to be achievable, so there's no point in setting targets that you're not going to achieve, because then everyone becomes demotivated. On the flip side of that, if you set them too low and you achieve them really easily, then that's not pushing your system to the highest profitability it could be. So once you've set your targets, you've got your team together, you've set your targets, you then want to mitigate risks that will stop you getting to those targets. So say you get to your scanning day and you're really disappointed with your scan. Why did that happen? Why did you not meet that target, and why have you got a lower scanning than you would like to? So was it something like ewe condition at tupping time? Were there trace element deficiencies at tupping time? Did you have enough tups out? Were those tups working? And when you're at that scanning day, you can't really answer any of those questions unless you've done that 3 months previously, 4 months previously. So what you want to be doing is sitting down, thinking about what's coming up, what could go wrong, and stop it going wrong before you get there. So that would be an example for your scanning. Likewise, further on in the year, if you are getting abortions and you come to the end of lambing and you think, well, why haven't I got as many lambs as I could have had? Oh, I had those abortions. Why did those ewes abort? If you didn't do any investigations, then you won't know. So at the time that that's happening, that's the time to investigate. And then, in the future, you can answer that question, and then next year, you can possibly work that into your health plan to stop that happening again. Moving through the summer, if your lambs aren't growing as well, if you are monitoring growth rates and you think we're not hitting these growth rates, why are we not hitting these targets? So was there a worm burden? Did the ewes not have enough milk? These are all things that once it's happened you can't do anything about, but if you think about it before it's happened and think, right, is there a worm burden? Do we need to do some more egg counts? Are these ewes going to have enough milk? Well, let's look at their condition. Let's do some metabolic profiling to see if the nutrition's right around lambing. If you do it at that point, you can stop it becoming an issue before you've got lambs that aren't growing through the summer. So they're just a few examples of things that you can build into your health plan, and that's why it needs to be a dynamic process. You need to be revisiting it every 3 or 4 months, think about what's coming up, what might go wrong, and how can we stop that happening. That's the last part of the process, is to review it. So once you've got your team together, you've set your targets, you have mitigated those risks of not reaching those targets, and then you need to go back and review and think, well, did we meet those targets? And if you did, then great. it's a great motivator. It's a good pat in the back if you did. If you didn't, then you have to ask the question, why didn't we? And as long as you can answer that question, why did we not meet that target, then the health plan is doing its job. Why should you be bothered about health planning? Well, hopefully if I haven't sold you it already, it's a really good way of getting a team together, and you know, you're all working towards the same thing, and if everyone's on the same page, then the team just works much better. So get everyone involved in your health plan. It is a really good way of just eking out those extra pennies that you can out your business. You know, healthy stock or profitable stock, and also they're much more enjoyable to work with. And like I said, if you achieve those targets, then great. It's a great motivator, a great pat in the back for yourself and your team. And don't worry if you don't achieve those targets, as long as you can explain why, then that is useful information for you to take forward to the next year, to just keep pushing your flock forward, and hopefully make farming a really enjoyable and profitable business for you. For more information about flock or herd health planning, there's lots of information about particular diseases and you know, other things that you could be including in your health plan on the FASS website. So you'll find all them at www.fass.scot.